So, welcome everybody. And from today for 3 days, I am asked to a little bit comment on the Satipatthana Sutta. And this sutra, I can't find it in Kanjur, in Tibetan. I'm told it is there, but it is so small and Kanjur is so big, I can't find it. There is a Mindfulness Sutra in Tibetan, but that's very long. It's, I think, 3 volumes or something like that. So maybe it is somewhere in there, I don't know. So therefore, I'm going to go through the short Satipatthana Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, the most kind of one of the this one particular one is not exactly the same one that I had once went through, or actually tried to explain. But I think this is a very, very good one. And this is supposed to be translated into English by Thich Nhat Hanh. Whatever I say on this, just saying by myself, because I didn't receive these teachings. This particular sutra, I didn't receive any teachings. I'm just making it up based on my other studies in Tibetan about the mindfulness, the form mindfulness and things like that. But I don't see any difference actually. So maybe it is okay. Now, you know, the title of this sutta is translated as Discourse on the 4 Establishments of Mindfulness. You know, in Tibetan we call it Tempa Nyevara Yapa. Ye. Tempa is translated like mindfulness here. And Tempa is another word or meaning is remembering. Tempa. Smriti, that in Pali is sati, in Sanskrit is smriti. Now, so the 4 establishments of mindfulness. The mindfulness is, you know, Tempa is usually like to become aware of what is going on and then to remember what to do at that time. That's the instruction, or the, you know, the Tibetan way of describing the mindfulness is that. And then Nyeva Yapa is to make our mind settle in there. Nyeva means very much, and Yapa means to. I think here that's why it's translated as establish, to make it, sit there, kind of, make it, leave it there, let it be there. So that's why I think it's translated as establishment. So our training to make our mind be of mindful, and there are 4 different kinds of mindful. That's the and the teachings on that. That's the discourse. So this is the title. Now the actual sutra starts. I heard these words of the Buddha one time when he was living at Kamma Sadama. Kamma Sadama, the name of a place, a market town of the Kuru people. The Buddha addressed the bhikkhus, "O bhikkhus," and the bhikkhus replied, "Venerable Lord." The Buddha said, "Bhikkhus, there is a most wonderful way to help living beings realize purification. Overcome directly grief and sorrow, and pain and anxiety. Travel the path and realize nirvana." So this is what Buddha said. It is rather clear, I think. This way is the 4 establishments of mindfulness. So he said that there is a way to really work on our problems and sufferings and grief and pain and anxiety, and to make us travel on the right path and to realize nirvana. And that is this 4 noble, for mindfulness. I think, sometimes we talk about this 37 bodhipaksha, 37 ways, or 37 branches of enlightenment. And the 4 mindfulness is the first of them. The 4 mindfulness, then the 4 kind of completely things to give up, the 4 legs of miracles, 4 kind of senses, 5 senses, 5 powers, 7 limbs of enlightenment, and 8-fold path. These are the, this concludes the whole teaching of the Buddha, especially the, the Sharayana, but mostly all, teachings. So the 4 mindfulness is the first of this and beginning. And 4 mindfulness is very important, both in the Sarvakayana and also the Mahayana practices. It is as much important there as anywhere. I think some of you who have gone through the the Bodhicaya Avatara also, there is a teaching on the 4 mindfulness in the 9th chapter. So what are the 4 establishments? Number 1, I'm reading from the text. Because a practitioner remains established in the observation of the body in the body, diligent, with a clear understanding, mindful, having abandoned every craving and every distaste for this life. So first of these 4 mindfulness is the mindfulness of the body.
La première, c'est l'attention.
And mindfulness of the body is to, to become mindful of the body in the body, observing the body in the body. Without aversion and attachment, having abandoned every craving and every distaste for this life. Means like without attachment. Of mindfulness of the body. Then the second, he remains established in the observation of the feelings in the feelings, diligent with clear understanding, mindful, having abandoned every craving and every distaste for this life. Now the second mindfulness is mindfulness of the feeling, and this is, the second, the feeling. Feeling is, how do you feel? You can feel good, you feel bad, feel pain, feel pleasure, feel neutral, this kind of whatever feelings you have, you observe that, you observe that, you just, feel it, you just, experience that, and also with clear understanding, so therefore, all these 4 mindfulness have kind of two sections, the 2 parts of it. One is just observing what's happening and relaxing in that, which is what usually we call like a shamatha type of meditation. And then another is to look at everything that's happening there in a direct way and directly understand what is this all about, which is the Vipassana, which is the which makes us understand the nature of this in a direct, experiential way. So these 2 sides is in all of this, 4 mindfulness. Now, second is feeling. Third is mindfulness of the mind. Mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of the mind. He remains established in the observation of the mind in the mind. Diligent, with clear understanding, mindful, having abandoned every craving and every distaste for this life. So, aware and observing the body, in the body, feeling of the feeling, means you feel the feeling, and the observing the mind of the mind, you understand, you experience, the mind itself. And then he remains established in the observation of the objects of mind, in the objects of mind. Objects of the mind is everything, all the phenomena. Sometimes we call it dharma or dhamma. Dhamma has many different meanings, and here it is everything that you can think about. So this, all the entities, all the phenomena. All the phenomena sometimes includes things that doesn't exist. Because anything that we think about, it doesn't have to be something existing that we think about. So these are the four. Now we come to the first, the mindfulness of the body. So then the sutra says, and how does a practitioner remain established in the observation of the body in the body? So how do we, practice? How do we meditate the mindfulness of the body? She goes to the forest. Now, this he did, the translator did a kind of, intelligent thing. For some sections, he said she, and some sections he said he. I think in the original text, I don't think it is he and she there. Because, in Indian languages, in many of the languages, like in Tibetan, you don't have to put he and she. That's the way the language is. So, he did it nicely here. To not to not seem like it's a totally masculine or male-dominated thing. Because some of these things, sometimes people say that, this is very patriarchal or something like that, Buddhism. It's actually sometimes coming from these translations. Because, you kind of, in English and some of the languages, you have to say he or she, something like that. Then you can't say he and she everywhere. And so, you say he, and then it becomes very male. So this here, it is done in another way. So he says, she goes to the forest, to the foot of a tree, or to an empty room, sits down cross-legged in the lotus position, holds her body straight, and establishes mindfulness in front of her. So, this is how to start meditating. Whether you want to meditate in the forest, it's usually regarded very good to meditate in the forest because there's a solitude and there's less, disturbance. Although one must also understand that it's not completely quiet. Sometimes the forest can be more noisy than in a city, especially in a, in a Western city. When I first arrived in Brussels, I had the shock of my life. It was too quiet. I felt so bad because it was so quiet. There was nothing, no sound. I was sitting in a house in the middle of Brussels, and there was nothing, no sound, nobody talking, no cars making horns or even rubber kind of a sound, nothing. It was dead silent. Only thing I could sometimes hear was a lady with a heel shoe was walking on the pavement down on the street, like tuck, 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 tuck. That's all, It was so bad, so boring. the worst thing in my life. Then I went to Barcelona, and it was different. It was lively. It was so nice. There was some commotion. Anyway, that's not beside the point. Anyway, you go to the forest, or you sit in the foot of a tree, or you sit in a room, and in a cross-legged, traditionally, you all sit cross-legged, but that depends on whether you are, used to that or not. In the East, nobody has problem sitting cross-legged, but in the West, they've never sat cross-legged, so many people have problem there. In that case, maybe it's absolutely not necessary to sit cross-legged. My argument for that is it is very clearly said in the sutras, and it is also, there are lots of drawings and sculptures that the next Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, is sitting on a chair. So therefore, if the next Buddha can sit on a chair, why can't you sit on a chair also? So that's why I think it's also okay. But, that's people sit is cross-legged in a lotus position. Like this, holds our body straight. The main thing is when you meditate, it is recommended that your body is straight, because it is good if you want to sit for a longer time. It's very important that you have a good posture. Because if you have a bad posture, it would harm you, and also later on other problems come. State, establish mind in front of it. Then you do this, you do the meditation. So how you do the meditation of, mindful of the body? Then he says, she breathes in, aware that she's breathing in. So, we just sit, just quietly, and do nothing else. Just become aware, become mindful. That, of course, we have to breathe. So when we breathe in, we know that we are breathing in. And then we breathe out, we know that we are breathing out. And that's it. No judgments, not trying to change anything, not trying to, make anything happen or get rid of anything, just little bit becoming aware. That's why you are talking about, mindful of the body in the body. That's when she breathes in a long breath, she knows I'm breathing in a long breath. And, when you breathe long, you know that I'm breathing long. When she breathes out in a long breath, she knows I'm breathing out a long breath. You're just aware of what's going on. When she breathes in a short breath, she knows I'm breathing in a short breath. So, long breath means you breathe very kind of deeply out or deeply in. Short means you breathe a little bit shorter, quickly. And she uses the following practice. So breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. When you breathe in, you know what's going on in your whole body, because your mind is with your body, in your body. Your mind is not, somewhere else, on the shopping mall or in your, office, or, with somebody, or, in another country, or, not in the past, or not in the future, or anything like that. Your mind is just here at this very moment in your body. So you're aware of your whole body. And breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I calm my body. So my body is calm, it's there. Just as a skilled potter knows. A potter who makes the pottery, when he makes the pottery, he's aware what he's doing, what's happening, Otherwise, it'll all go out of the, what it would go so out of. He will not be able to make it in the right way because it changes very quickly, So when he makes a long turn on the wheel, I'm making a long turn. So when the potter makes a long turn, he knows he's making a long turn, and knows when he makes a short turn, I'm making a short turn. So a practitioner, when she breathes in a long breath, knows I'm breathing in a long breath, and when she breathes in a short breath, knows I'm breathing in a short breath. When she breathes out a long breath, knows I'm breathing out a long breath, and when she breathes out a short breath, knows I'm breathing out. So all these things, is just clearly saying what you should do, just more clearly and more, elaborately describing how you should. Without making any fuss about it, just relaxed, just not being aware of what you are, how things are, and then just a little bit knowing what's happening, and you are not meditating. Sometimes, when you say, I'm meditating, it makes it a little bit more of a kind of another thing. Then you make up a concept that I'm meditating. Here, there's no concept. It's just, you just be. You just are what's happening. Aware of what's happening, not trying to do anything or not do anything. So this is, I think, the important part of meditation here, is just being, just doing, not trying anything, not expect anything to happen or looking forward to something happening and things like that. Just being. She uses the following practice. Breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I'm aware of the whole body. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I calm my body. I just feel okay. I feel relaxed. I feel okay, but not trying to make myself relaxed or not trying to, do anything. Moreover, when a practitioner walks, he is aware I'm walking. When he's standing, he is aware I am standing. When he's sitting, he is aware I'm sitting. When he's lying down, he is aware I'm lying down. So, we can have these four. Our body can be in these four states mostly. We can be walking, we can be standing, we can be sitting, we can be lying down. Actually, we can't do anything else in these four states. We are always. So, in any state of our body, we can do meditation. Just being aware, that's it. When you're walking, you're walking. When you're sitting, when you're sitting. When you're standing. When you're lying down, when you're lying down, and, relax in it and just be aware of, what's going on. In whatever position his body happens to be, he is aware of the position of his body. Moreover, when the practitioner is going forward or backward, he applies full awareness of his going forward or backward. When he looks in front or looks behind, bends down or stand up, he also applies full awareness to what he is doing. He applies full awareness to wearing the Sangati robe or carrying the alms ball, the dress that monks are wearing. I think this is called Sangati robe. And in those days, all the bhikkhus, all the monks used to go begging and get food from anywhere. And that time everybody was cooking. There was no dearth of food. So, you could, and then you'll get food. So, alms bowl. So everybody had an alms bowl. When he eats or drinks, chews or savors the food, he applies full awareness to all this. This is the practice, is that usually what we are doing is we are doing all those things. But most of the time, we are not aware that we are doing. Our mind is somewhere else. Our mind is thinking of the past, thinking of the future, thinking of what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do, worrying about things in the future, going through all the troubles and problems and of the past, and our mind is everywhere, but not where we are and not in what we are doing. And so therefore, we are mostly kind of distracted. These are called distracted. So, but when we do this mindfulness, then we have to be here and now and in the present moment. And when in the present moment, usually, there's nothing like stress. There's nothing like, because you are not connecting with all the story of the past or all the things you are going to kind of make up in the future, because future is something, we just only speculations. You never know what the future will be. So whatever you think about the future is just speculation. So not that, but just being. So whether that is whether you are eating or, what he says here, and he applies full awareness to wearing the Sangati full robe or carrying the alms bowl when he eats or drinks or chews or savors the food. He applies full awareness to all this. When passing excrement or urinating, he applies full awareness to this. When he walks, stands, lies down, sits, sleeps, or wakes up, speaks, or is silent, he shines his awareness on all this. Further, the practitioner meditates on a very own body. Now after this is samatha. You're just aware of what's going on, and this, you can practice this. Sometimes people practice this very long time until, because if you do this, naturally your mind becomes calm. Your mind becomes calm, and your mind becomes clear, and you become, more aware, more present, more kind of joyful, because your mind is not occupied with all the troubles and worries and, speculations and all the burden of the past and things like that. So you allow your mind to relax, rest. So, and it's very important meditation. And this kind of meditation is, sometimes we call it shamatha meditation also, because it's, but, all this is contributing to the Vipassana also, because through this way, we can bring down our mind so that we can actually become more clear and be aware of how things are. Now, next is further the practitioner meditates on her very own body, from the soles of the feet upwards, and then from the hair on top of the head downwards. So the next, slightly different type of meditation. This is usually what we call, the Vipassana. Shamatha means calm abiding, allowing to be calm, bringing calmness, bringing stability, bringing, harmony and, presence and joy and peace to the mind. Now, Vipassana is Vipassana. Vi means very much. Passana means seeing clearly, seeing more, seeing fully. So this is what we call insight meditation. So, to have a real understanding of how things are, it's the wisdom. This is, creating the wisdom or awakening the wisdom. That's why it's called Vipassana. So now here, when we do the Vipassana or when we do the mindfulness of the body, then we look at the body. We become aware of the body. From the hair on top down to every part of the body till to the feet. A body contained inside the skin and full of all the impurities which belong to the body. Everything that happens inside, outside, every part of the body. Here is the hair of the head, the hairs of the body, the nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, bowels, excrement, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, mucus, synovial fluid, urine. Slowly, one by one, you just aware of every part of your body. First outside, then inside, and each one of them, just be aware. Bhikkhus, imagine a sack which can be opened at both ends, containing a variety of grains, brown rice, wild rice, mung beans, this is dal, kidney beans, sesame, white rice. When someone with good eyesight opens the bag, so if somebody with, who can see very well is opened, he will review it like this. He knows this is brown rice, this is wild rice, these are mung beans, these are kidney beans, these are sesame seeds, this is white rice. Just so the practitioner passes in review the whole of his body, from the sole of the feet to the hair on the top of the head. A body enclosed in a layer of skin and full of all the impurities which belong to the body. Here is the hair of the head, the hairs of the body, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, bowels, excrement, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, mucus, synovial fluid, urine. So, everything you are aware of. Further, in whichever position our body happens to be, the practitioner passes in review the elements which constitute the body. In this body is the earth element, the water element, the fire element, and the air element. Our body is if you want to categorize our body, then it's these four elements. Most part of our body belongs to the earth element because when we die, it becomes the earth, like flesh, ligaments, bones, and bone marrows, and all this, skin. So these are earth elements. Then, our blood and, all the liquids in our body goes into the water elements. Then the heat, and that which makes us warm and, work, kind of vibrate. What can you say? That's the fire element, the heat in our body. And then all this kind of breathing and, that movements and things like that is come out of the air element, the wind element, air element. So, to be aware of that.
Conscient de ces
A skilled butcher or an apprentice butcher having killed a cow might sit at the crossroads to divide the cow into many parts. The practitioner passes in to review the elements which comprises her very own body. Here in this body are the earth element, the water element, the fire element, and the air element. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with corpse. Sometimes, this kind of meditators go into the cemetery place and, and look at the corpse. That was that time. Maybe nowadays you can't do that, but, or you visualize a corpse, which visualizes thrown into a charnel ground and lying there for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. The body changes, very quickly after one dies. So the corpse first becomes bloated, then it becomes blue in color, then it's festering, and kind of, it starts to dissolve, and, so we can observe that. This body of mind is of the same nature, that corpse or the dead body and this body of ours is not different. It's the same nature, same thing. At the moment we are alive, so it's living, So therefore, it doesn't rot like that, but as soon as we die, it will go. It will end up in the same way. There's no way that it can avoid that state. So, when we do this, we kind of understand exactly what our body is, if we have the courage to look at it. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with a corpse which he visualizes thrown on the charnel ground, pecked at by crows, eaten by hawks, vultures, and jackals, and infested with maggots and worms, and he observes. This body of mine is of the same nature. It will end up in the same way. There is no way it can avoid that state. So, all this thing is to really understand the true nature of our body. It's impermanent. It's made of so many elements. It's changing all the time. If it is, created, it will dissolve, and, things like that. So, further, the practitioner compares his own body with the corpse which he visualizes thrown onto a charnel ground. It's just a skeleton. And after some time, then the body becomes just a skeleton with sometimes little flesh and black blood sticking to it. A little bit of blood and flesh there, but mostly the flesh is gone because it's eaten up by, birds and animals. And the bones are held together by the ligaments. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with the corpse, which he visualizes thrown into a charnel ground. It's just a skeleton, no longer flesh, no longer added to by any flesh, but still smeared by little blood, the bones still held together by the ligaments. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with the corpse which he visualizes thrown on the charnel ground. It's just a skeleton, no longer added to by any flesh, nor smeared by any blood, but the bones are still held together by the ligaments. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with the corpse, which he visualizes thrown on the charnel ground. All that is left is a collection of bones scattered here and there. In one place, a hand bone, in another, a shin bone, a thigh bone, a pelvis, a spinal column, a skull, This is the process of how our body, dissolves. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with a corpse which visualizes thrown into charnel ground. All that is left is a collection of bleached bones, the color of shells, completely like white bones and little pieces. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with a corpse which he visualizes thrown on a charnel ground. It has been lying there for more than 1 year, and all that is left is a collection of dried bones. There's only some dried bones, a little bit. Further, the practitioner compares his own body with a corpse which he visualizes thrown on the charnel ground. All that is left is the dust which comes from the rotted bones. And you observe, this body of mine is the same nature. It will end up in the same way. There is no way it can avoid that state. As anybody's body is, my body is also. This is how the practitioner remains established in the observation of the body in the body. Observation of body from within or from without, or both from within or from without. he remains established in the observation of the process of coming to be in the body, or the process of dissolution in the body, or both, in the process of coming to be and the process of dissolution. Or he is mindful of the fact there is a body here. Until understanding and full awareness come about, he remains established in the observation, free, not caught in any worldly consideration. That's how to practice observation of the body in the body, or bhikkhus. Until you have come to this, that our body is, we think it's our body, it's my body, it's so important, it's, it's just mine, and, anybody, anything, anything happen, it's so, you are so enraged, and, things like that, and you are so, so much attached. But this body is so much temporary, so much impermanent, so much made of so many things, so much, like that, the way it is. So, and therefore, if you see this really, really clearly, maybe we can have little less attachment, little less aversion, little less, grasping, little more understanding of not just our body, but everybody's body and everything else, that is there, like our body. All the phenomena that we can see is also a little bit like that. So we understand how things are, not in a theoretical way, not in a philosophical way, but directly and clearly. So this is the mindfulness of the body as it's given in this sutra. It's the longest part of this sutra. So, I thought it was good to go through it, read it, and it is very clear actually. But it is a meditation. It's not just, it's just not, you can call it meditation if you like, but, meditation is often, just being, not really, there's nothing kind of meditating on it. So that's it. So I stop here tonight.